On the morning of July 22, 2025, the world was stunned by news no one ever expected. Ozzy Osbourne, rock legend and timeless icon of global music, passed away peacefully in his sleep at his private estate in Buckinghamshire, England. Within hours, major outlets worldwide reported the story. Concert halls dimmed their lights in tribute, and fans flooded social platforms with messages of grief and gratitude. The artist who once sang about darkness, pain, and defiance had closed the final chapter of his life. But in that moment, an entirely new chapter began. One far more enigmatic and unexpected than anyone could have imagined. Less than 24 hours later, while the world was still struggling to process the loss, an even more stunning announcement surfaced. Ozzy Osbourne's final will had been officially opened. In an instant, the document sent the entire Osbourne family into a whirlwind of controversy, filled with puzzling clauses, unexpected choices, and whispers that a long-planned strategy may have been set in motion long before his passing. Was this the last heartfelt gesture of a true icon, or a carefully crafted message that reached all the way to his final moments? If Ozzy Osbourne's legacy ever meant something to you, show your appreciation by hitting like and subscribing so you won't miss the upcoming revelations. Drop a 1 in the comments if you feel connected to Ozzy's journey, or a 0 if you see it from another angle. And now, without further delay, let's dive into the truth behind this emotional and enigmatic story. Now, Jack Osbourne carries a weighty responsibility. He must oversee both the spiritual and financial aspects of the music empire his father, Ozzy, built. Being entrusted with control over the music royalties and the valuable California estate reflects the deep trust Ozzy placed in him. But it also ushers in a challenging new chapter. His role isn't just about managing complex financial matters. Jack also faces immense psychological pressure as his family grapples with the divisions created by the will. He stands at a crossroads, not only between rights and responsibilities, but also between family bonds and public expectations. In this delicate position, every choice he makes could have far-reaching consequences, shaping not only the fortune Ozzy left behind, but also the family's reputation, relationships, and the very future of the Osbourne legacy. Plastic. Elliot, Jessica, and Louis, Ozzy Osbourne's 3 children from his first marriage, may not be familiar names in tabloids or international media, but they were undeniably part of Ozzy's life and memories. Unlike their father, they did not pursue careers in entertainment, nor were they part of the glamorous years of reality TV or world tours. Instead, they lived quietly away from the public eye. Yet in his final will, Ozzy did not overlook them. He established a special trust fund in the UK, leaving the 3 children a combined $5 million, a modest sum compared to the total fortune exceeding $220 million, but enough to show they were not completely forgotten. Still, this inheritance came with conditions and remained entirely separate from the critical decisions surrounding his musical legacy. It is precisely this limitation that has fueled public curiosity and debate. Why were Ozzy's biological children given no control over the Ozzy Osbourne brand, the music empire their father built? Was this simply Ozzy dividing his assets based on personal relationships, or did it hint at something deeper, a long-standing emotional rift that was never healed? They were not only excluded from the core commercial assets, but also seemingly from the spiritual journey their father left behind. For Elliot, Jessica, and Louis, the inheritance wasn't just about money, it symbolized their bloodline and the acknowledgement that had often been absent throughout their childhood. Their exclusion from the legacy felt like a quiet yet unmistakable farewell, a heartbreaking decision that only those who have experienced family separation can truly comprehend. Ozzy Osbourne's legacy is far more than luxurious homes or million-dollar cars. It is a global brand, a musical treasure trove spanning decades, with hundreds of songs carrying immense copyright value. Whoever controls the rights to this catalog holds a long-lasting source of income that can extend across generations. This makes the divisions in Ozzy's will even more sensitive and contentious. For those excluded from controlling the brand, it isn't just a financial setback, it's a psychological blow, a signal that they are not part of the monumental legacy Ozzy built. The stakes are therefore much higher, as the value of his music empire goes beyond money, touching the very heart of what his legacy represents. Immediately after the will became public, doubts and suspicions began to emerge. Some close family members even questioned whether it fully reflected Ozzy's free will and sound judgment. Unusual circumstances during the drafting process, combined with his rapidly declining health in his final years, only fueled widespread speculation. Ozzy spent his last 3 years battling serious health challenges, including motor neuron degeneration, chronic myelitis, spinal injuries, and the complex complications of Parkinson's disease. To address these conditions, he underwent a range of advanced treatments, including stem cell therapy, immune system regulation, and intensive rehabilitation. During these final years, no one stood by Ozzy more faithfully than Sharon Osbourne, not just his wife, but his soulmate and irreplaceable companion. After more than 40 years of marriage, they had endured countless storms that seemed insurmountable, from high-profile scandals and chronic illnesses to a career marked by constant challenges and reinventions. Sharon was not only Ozzy's sharp-minded manager, but also his protector and guiding light during his darkest moments. When his health faltered and his spirit wavered, she never left his side, maintaining the image of a strong, enduring woman who silently carried the weight of their struggles while offering unwavering support to the man she loved. When illness left Ozzy unable to walk unaided and his hands trembled so much he could barely hold a microphone, Sharon never left his side. Not through grand gestures or media appearances, but through quiet strength and steadfast resilience. She was there in every hospital room, beside him through every surgery, listening to his labored breaths at night, and always the last to leave backstage after each performance once the lights went down. Their love wasn't just about being close. It was a testament to endurance, forged through the harshest trials. Their bond was not defined by the easy, glorious days, but by the darkest, most challenging moments they faced together. No one other than Sharon Osbourne took on the full responsibility of managing every aspect of Ozzy's life and medical care in his final years. She was not just his wife, but his medical coordinator, chef, treatment scheduler, and at times, the sole media representative capable of controlling the narrative. Sharon was like a general on the battlefield, never leaving the front lines, always vigilant, logical, yet deeply compassionate. Even when Ozzy struggled with illness or the emotional toll of pain, she remained steadfast, guiding the ship he could no longer steer. It wasn't always gentle or perfectly aligned with his wishes, but it was her firmness and composure that preserved balance in a family long accustomed to chaos. There were moments when Ozzy was so furious that no one dared approach him, or so consumed by despair that he barely recognized himself. But when Sharon entered the room, everything changed instantly. No shouting, no explanations were needed. In her gaze was deep understanding. In her voice, unwavering determination, and in every action, unconditional love. She was the only one who could calm him, make him sit still, and at times, even bring him to tears. In a 2023 interview, When asked about the woman who had been by his side the longest, Ozzy choked up and said, "I was like a sinking ship, and Sharon is the only one who knows how to swim." It wasn't just gratitude. It was a profound acknowledgement of Sharon's essential role in his life, an emotional confession from a man who had lived through both the deepest lows and the highest peaks. As illness gradually eroded Ozzy's memory and mental clarity, Sharon became the guiding compass that kept him from getting lost in the fog of forgetfulness. On days when he could no longer distinguish present from past, when familiar faces became strangers, she stayed by his side, patiently recounting the legendary performances of years gone by, moments when a single scream could captivate millions. She reminded him of the world tours, the nights that shook stadiums with music. Each night, after the lights dimmed, Sharon would lean close and whisper in the softest voice, "You are the Prince of Darkness, and even if the world forgets, I never will." In that fragile space between memory and reality, her voice became his final anchor, preventing him from slipping entirely into oblivion. When Ozzy passed away and the media descended, expecting tears or tales of hardship from the grieving wife, Sharon did not deliver what they anticipated. She did not wail, cry on camera, or recount the struggles of those final months at his side. Instead, she looked directly into the lens, her voice steady, her eyes unwavering, and spoke just one sentence. "I don't need sympathy. I just want my husband to be remembered as a warrior." No theatrics, no melodrama. Just a brief yet powerful statement that captured a lifetime of love and sacrifice. True to her word, Sharon not only cared for Ozzy until his final breath, but also preserved the image of an indomitable warrior for the family, the public, and the history of music itself. In the final 3 years of Ozzy's life, Sharon Osbourne quietly made one of the most powerful personal choices of her life. She withdrew entirely from the public eye. Every invitation to appear on TV shows, talk shows, or entertainment events, no matter how tempting, was declined. She paused all ongoing business ventures, from cosmetics lines to media contracts. Sharon even temporarily distanced herself from some close friends and family, not out of conflict, but because she believed Ozzy needed absolute peace and quiet to endure the physical and emotional pain steadily consuming him. Behind drawn curtains, shielding him from the world, she silently built a sanctuary for the man she had vowed never to leave. This decision was not an escape from life or career. It was a strategy, a subtle yet steadfast shield of protection. Sharon had seen firsthand how the very stage lights that brought Ozzy fame also pushed him into exhaustion and despair. She understood that in his final years, he needed not applause, adoration, or million-dollar deals, but a private sanctuary, a peaceful moment, and quiet, unconditional love. Sharon spoke little and shared almost nothing with the media, yet every day she chose to remain by his side. A silent, unwavering act of loyalty and sacrifice, powerful in its quiet devotion. During the final years of Ozzy Osbourne's life, he existed in an almost entirely closed world, a world no one could enter without passing through the gatekeeper named Sharon. She wasn't just his wife or partner, she held full control over every aspect of his life. From internal meetings and video calls to interviews and communications with record labels or managers, everything required her approval, often monitored down to the minute. She became a protective wall between Ozzy and the outside world, not out of control or authority, but because she alone truly understood the fragile and vulnerable state he faced in his final years. According to the household staff, Sharon had even installed a state-of-the-art monitoring system that ran around the clock, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This system tracked not only Ozzy's health, but also every subtle change in his behavior, speech, and mental state. From his breathing to the movement of his hands and feet, from sleep-time murmurs to panicked expressions in the night, everything was recorded as part of Sharon's unwavering effort to protect her husband, who was slowly slipping from reality. She allowed nothing to go unnoticed or unchecked, not out of suspicion, but because love had turned her into the most devoted guardian, remaining vigilant until his final breath. One night, when the house was silent and everyone asleep, Ozzy quietly slipped out of bed. He moved slowly, trembling in the dark, and made his way to an old drawer in the office, the spot where he had long hidden a bottle of whiskey. With shaky hands, he poured a small amount into a glass, his eyes reflecting a faint, familiar hope. But less than 2 minutes later, the door opened. Sharon entered, her gaze calm yet piercing, as if she had already anticipated his actions. There were no angry words, no signs of frustration. She simply walked over, gently took the glass from his hand, poured the remaining whiskey down the sink, and quietly left. The gesture was understated, yet it brought a profound stillness over the room. When the doctors finally delivered the words no one wanted to hear, that Ozzy's remaining time was measured in months, there was no panic, no tears, no screams. Ozzy paused for a moment, then offered a tired yet determined smile. He looked at Sharon, took her hand, and softly said, "Then we still have a lot to do." These were more than comforting words for the wife who had stood by him for decades. They were a declaration of strength from a warrior who would never surrender. For Ozzy, every remaining second was an opportunity to love, to give, and to create something meaningful, whether it was finishing a song, sharing a smile with a loved one, or simply holding a hand in silence on that final afternoon.